I have tried. I've tried a lot of games here. And I got burned out. Okay, so the Austria one, I was doing. I was already out of character anyway. But then I got to a point where I was like, I'm not going to survive unless I use a cheat. And there's a cheat mod that allows you to boost your money, and then it screws up your user interface. So you just get the money and get out. Then you have to reload. And I got along okay there, but I felt guilty about that. Then I did another run as Brazil, played it very conservatively, and was bored out of my mind because I ran out of people to build things. I'm just like going through trade deals until I can finally modernize and maybe get a chance at getting some late game immigration. It went nowhere. And I thought, well, wait a minute. What if I instead do Brazil, but I go make protectorates of everything nearby? And that worked great until I went bankrupt. Because the thing with Brazil, I made a power block, and knocking over the guys nearby was a trade union. And the problem with it is if you have a trade union, you lose points if you have shortages. And I had some shortages, but you also lose points for various block members that you're not invested in or that have bad relations with you. So my cohesion as Brazil was very low, and I could never get that trade block off the ground. But I felt I had to expand it early because you've got USA, France, and Britain making their inroads into South America. It became I had to compete there. So I thought, well, wait a minute. What are the nations that I do like? And if I look at how I've played thousands of hours, thousands upon thousands of hours of Victoria 2 and Victoria 3, and I've got tens of thousands in 2. It was a game for a long time. But my favorite nation of all was Prussia. Second to that was France. Next on the list was USA and Mexico, very close. Actually, probably Mexico, then USA, just because the way I played Victoria 2, I could cheese it there. Then after that, Japan was very fun to do in Victoria 2, and then Russia, and then Austria. And I've tried a few others, but it's like, nah, not really my style. I like a big nation, or I like a nation that can become big. And definitely Brazil has that potential. If I'm to do Brazil again, I may try the make the trade group, but first, but I don't know. It's just a small population. I can't get anywhere with it. Not with what I want to do, my ambitions. Why do I never play England? Because I always see it as the big bad. It's the one that I want to take on, the one I want to take down a peg. It's already got all the stuff, so I just never do an England play. Uh, Also, I guess knowing what I know about the British Empire, they're kind of like the villains, the worst villains of the whole thing. And you can say, "Oh, come on, the Chinese did this, the Russians did that, the Persians were this, and the Americans, my gosh." But yeah, the British are to me the villains of this, and I don't want to play the villain. Like when Hearts of Iron 4 came out with the DLC that allowed you to play Germany but get rid of Hitler right away. I got rid of Hitler right away and then tried to play Victoria 3 on that and got very frustrated because Hearts of Iron 4 was not Victoria 3. And now I got Victoria 3 and I don't have to, and I can start Germany with a Kaiser. Okay, we're good there. Yay. Um, I have done a play or two with Italy. That was okay, but I like a bigger nation with bigger stuff. And Russia is about as big as they get. Although, to be fair, with a Mercator projection, it's actually the way it's with the Mercator projection, the distance from Moscow to Vladivostok, I think the distance across Russia is actually shorter than the distance across Africa, east to west. So it's just that weird projection that makes the north all sprayed out, but that's because the Earth is a circle, and if you want to keep your directional lines together, the way because the Mercator is to make sure that your directions stay true as you go across, so it has to deform the land surfaces so that way your directions stay constant. But if we went with an equal area map, then Russia gets pinched in, and you have those kinds. Then you have to get the weird projections that either bend things around or they have the cuts in between, and so you have the gaps, and it looks weird. And anyway, So Russia's not as big as it looks, but it is big. It is big, but it's just not as big as it looks. Anyway, I wanted to play Russia because the last time I did Russia was before the Great Game DLC came out, and I've been meaning to come to it, and so I've decided I'm going to start a great game with Russia. So let's have a great game. What are my lessons learned though? One, do not go too fast. I did this yesterday and I built way too much construction and I wound up with a very big negative. I thought I wasn't going to get into trouble as Russia because once I got into the negative, it was I had like 56 million I could borrow. That's lots. Germany's got 6 or 7 and I'm struggling, but Russia, oh, it's huge. It's great. But then I got into a situation where my government wages and my military wages were way in excess of my revenue. Russia cannot get a big revenue to start with. Let's take a look at the laws. Land-based taxation. How are we going to get to per capita taxation? Here's your key. You see how the Gentry Assembly opposes it? I've got to get something other than Gentry Assembly into power, or some other group that wants it into power, for me to get off of land-based taxation. Per capita would be great. Proportional, not ready for that yet, and graduated, yikes. But per capita would be better, especially once we start to industrialize. That's going to make the money. But as it is, I'm not going to get, I certainly don't want consumption-based taxation. So Russia's got to stay within its means, especially with the mod set that I have. I've got the political and economic changes mod. That's going to lead to some changes. I want to stay out of trouble, though, so I'm not going to overbuild. It's going to be very easy to set up a debt spiral with the changes that were made in 1.8. And part of that has to deal with, let's hover over this, unrealized taxes. So there's 2 sets here, the unrealized taxes and the tax waste. Unrealized taxes would be places where I just need to have more administration in order to extract more money from the people. And I'm probably going to do that not by building more admin. I need to first discover filing cabinets. Take the admin I have, max it out, which was for something that's going to last for about 60, 70 years before we have to start going into switchboards. But see what I can do with that before I start building out more administration. Then we have, so that's uncollected taxes. Then tax waste is something that's due to either a shortage in administration, which I don't have a shortage right now, I'm at plus 231, or unrest. And if I hover over average tax waste, I can see places where I've got, yikes, it's 50% in some of these places. And then 53 more items, and 43 and 33. Okay, so now it's not so bad. Kuban is 100%. Oh. All right, so obviously we've got some tax waste here and there. And it could be because of outrage or just not enough people collecting taxes again, but it's something like that. But definitely, if I make my people angrier, if their standard of living drops, if I don't pass laws that they want to see, I raise taxes, that's going to reduce my tax income due to uncollected taxes or average tax waste. Or it's like the money's collected, but it goes nowhere. It's corruption, if you will. I have found that if I get into a depression and I slash wages, it lowers the standard of living, and then that also lowers taxes. I have to find a way to come out of depression with it's still making some money every week, and then I can build that back up and then finally increase the wages to where they were, get the standard of living brought back up. The people are happier, then they pay more taxes, and I wonder what was the problem in the first place. Well, I just need to make sure I don't get into that problem. I need to build a lead mine because I have a shortage of lead, and I need to build a lot of fabric because I changed over to a method of ports. It gives me a lot better infrastructure, but it also means I have a lot of need for fabric to make sails, I would assume. So I need to get some fabric built, and I've scheduled a lead mine in Finland, because if you invest in your various protectorates, they develop their trade with you, and that's a good for a trade network. And you're wondering, why do you talk about trade network? I thought Russia was a traditional empire. I've got a twist. And then I'm going to build cotton plantations in Rostov. I went there because some other areas had construction penalties due to upset populations. Rostov was good. So I'm going to build a lot of plantations there. A lot of them. And then some naval bases because I need to fix my navy as well. Um, and this is going to take 5 years to build because I have a total of, I don't know if you can see, there are 4 construction sectors. And if we take a look and see where they are, Ingria and Moscow. That's it. And I'm going to build a lot in Rostov. So I probably want to increase some construction sector there. And now the eagle-eyed among you will also notice, hey, you're also on the wooden buildings one. You can get a lot more construction if you go over to iron frame buildings. Yes, I could. And you look at that, it will require 190 more iron if I do that. Let's take a look at my market here. And let's take a look at my iron situation. I'm making 73 extra irons. So if I went over to iron buildings, I'm going to have to make a lot more iron. My technology is such that I only get 20 iron per mine. I would have to build a lot more iron mines to get that. I would have to have a lot more construction to get that, and this is where I get into a spiral. Both Russia and Brazil I put into a bad spiral when I switched into iron buildings. I was building quickly, but I was having to import tons and tons of iron, and it was very expensive. Wood, on the other hand, in case you haven't noticed, I've already built out all my trade routes for wood, and this is going to come down significantly, but I've got a lot of wood. I don't know if you've heard of the Russian forests, but they got a lot of wood. If I stay on this, if I stay on wooden buildings, I can build a lot more. I'll have to build more construction sectors, but I've got the population to do it. So build out more construction sectors, stay on wooden frame buildings. Yes, they're slow and inefficient, but they're also what I can afford right now. And I think if I had done that as Brazil, not gone over to iron frame, maybe I would have done better in that second run with them. Now I'm thinking I should go back and try it, but I'm on Russia and I'm doing a great game here, but I'm doing a careful game with Russia. Next over, let's go back to power blocks. Russia is a sovereign empire. Great. I can subjugate power block members. Let's look at the power block members I have right now. They're all protectorates and puppets. If I go, you see all the members here, these are all, I go to my diplomacy thing and look at subjects, they are all puppet, personal union, protectorate, charter company, protectorate. And those 3 protectorates in the Juz area, I know the journal entry is going to come up to make the steps get quiet, and I've got to subjugate all 3 of these, make them all 3 puppets, and make all their liberty desires low. So if I just put the foot down on them now and knock them in, we'll be fine. I'll have a nice quiet step, and then once I complete that goal, I'll get claims on Kokand, Bukhara, Khiva, and Turkmenia. Also in this great game, Persia is going to be an interesting player. I did have fun in the last play where I made Persia a protectorate because they were going into a war and I offered to support them, and I said, would you like to be my subject? And they said, sure. And leaving them as a protectorate, not a puppet, but a protectorate, meant they were doing some cleanup around here. And that was nice, how they were just knocking some heads around. And they would conquer territory, and then I'd say, go ahead and allow me to intervene and send a few battalions your way and make a protectorate out of whatever's left of what you didn't conquer. And then once this area here was taken up by as much Persia as could, then I would come back and reduce the autonomy of Persia and make them a puppet. Do I need to incorporate them into my empire? I don't know. I don't think I do. And that's something that I'm looking at this. I don't really need the stuff that goes with sovereign empire, like vassalization, where you're getting more stuff out of your protectorates and puppets. I can do the same thing with a trade network. If they're in my customs union, and I'm going with if I go with some of those with the trade benefit one, then I can also bring in other members into my group there and not necessarily have to make them protectorates in order to have their trade benefits. So I'm actually considering disbanding the Sovereign Empire and creating a new group that will be my new power block. So instead of Rossiskia Imperia, I'm going to go with some trade block. Also, I look at this defensive cooperation. Okay, riddle me this, Batman. If you are a sovereign empire and you're vassalizing all the members of your group, why do you need defensive cooperation? If they're your protectorates, they can't start war with other protectorates. Unless I'm missing something here. So that's useless. And the sovereign empire is not the kind of block I want to have. If I've got 7 members in my block, but again, they're all protectorates. So if I dissolve this block and create a new one, I'm going to have all 7 of these come right back in. And they're going to be building my cohesion. We'll be building mandates. I'll be adding new areas to it. This is going to come out pretty nicely here, especially with what I can expand on in Central Asia. I'm also going to see some action with areas here trying to break away from the Ottoman Empire. Greece is always ready to go and join in with the Russians. I can get some trade with them. And yeah, do some work here. I may not actually get involved against Persia at the very beginning because Austria and Britain want to support them against Egypt. But after a while, we can make some friends with Egypt. We can get some good trade with them and maybe bring them into our little power block. But to do that, I am going to get rid of this. So let's leave the Russian Imperium. Kaboom. It's done. And no one else is there. I'm going to form a power block. This is going to give me a minus 30 hit with everybody else who has an existing power block. And because I have an anti-British League and an anti-Ottoman association, they're going to love that. The Russian-Prussian Society, they're not going to, but I'll deal with the fallout later. And because I'm doing it right now, I don't have to take a hit with relations with France or the USA because they don't have a power block yet. All right. I'm not going to call this the Association of Syndicates. I am going to call this here the Fancy Bears. Yes, there's a Russian hacking group called Fancy Bear. And when I saw how the Fancy Bear logo had all these bears with bling and like these Adidas track suits and gold chains, I thought, those are Fancy Bears. And now that I'm forming a trade network based on Russia, we are the Fancy Bears. Yes, of course. All right, so let's do that. For the emblem, I don't want angel. Armillary sphere looks good. I don't like pedestal. I like memorial. So we'll go with that. For the emblem and colors, this is very gaudy. I don't need the elegant frame. Let's just keep it simple. I like the fiery center. That's nice. Let's go with a crown at the top. Nah, but is that really what I want? No, let's just go with nothing there. And I don't want fish. That's too British. And the map pattern, I kind of like a pattern 2. That looks pretty cool. Pattern 5, though. Ooh, yeah, I'm going to go with pattern 5. Nice Levy one there. A jungular. And yeah, we'll just stand with that. That's fine. We'll go with confirm on that. And we need to add a principle. I don't want internal trade. I want the external trade. Because actually, if I do liberalize this Russia and get a lot of things going, maybe I will become I get that influential trade center and start attracting migration. But also get more influence based on that. I like that. All right, so now we're going to be Fancy Bears, form the power block. Yes, we make Ottomans, Austrians, Britain mad. We don't care. We are the Fancy Bears. Oh, look. Fancy Bears. Yes. And look, we have 7 members. Our cohesion is lower than it was before, but we'll fix that. We're going to build our relationships, and we're going to invest in various places there. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Okay. Now, we do lose quite a lot of authority, so maybe I need to drop one of the taxes I had. I'll go ahead and drop the meat tax. That was kind of mean of me to do that one. But, hey, at least I didn't do the grain tax, right? See, I'm not evil. I didn't do a grain tax. Yes, I'm taxing clothing and wood and liquor, but hey, we got to draw the line somewhere. And I'm making good money. I'm all right. I'm all right. So with this one here, let's go ahead and go with diplomatic actions. Let's improve our relations with Finland, and the Baltic governance are also nice to improve on. I'm going to be beating up the Zhuz, so don't worry about them. I'm probably going to need to declare a rival somewhere sometime, but let's just keep improving relations with my. Okay, so those are the three I need to improve with, and now I would like to make Prussia feel better about things, so I'll improve with them. France is always good. Let's go to Egypt. Yes, improving there. And how about the USA? Let's hope they don't do a hate thing on me. Okay, now I've, I'm happy with that. Go ahead and also make nice with Greece. It'll take a little while and they'll be built up. Okay, so that's my diplomacy. I've got my building. I've got my power block. What about my laws? Okay. I've got a legitimate government of 78. I can make it go to 79 if I bring in the Orthodox Church, and if I bring them in, I can get them to try to pass some actual forward-looking kinds of legislation. Without them, not so much. But with them, I can get charity hospitals, dedicated police force, and once we discover school, we can get religious schools. They are going to push for legal guardianship. I'm ready to concede on that one. We are very backward. We're going to go there. But by going with dedicated police force, this is something that will make the petite bourgeoisie stronger, which is going to help me later on. If I go with charity hospitals, that just makes people overall healthier. But I am going to have to deal with bureaucracy costs when that happens. I, I'm ready for that. Let me go with charity hospitals, though, because this could help workers in the church and the unions feel better. The industrialists won't like it, but they're so small, they'll get over it. Let me go ahead and get some charity hospitals passed. Let's do that. And if I need to build some more uh, administration to handle that, we will. I feel confident there. I've already taken the liberty of going through and doing a lot of trade routes. You see a lot of wood in here, a lot of wood. We're and liquor and stuff. We're doing some trade, yeah, which is why I went ahead and did the uh, upped my the convoys because by getting better ports, I need that to happen so I can have better trade and all. Yes, okay. So let's go to the place where we're going to be building Rostov. And let's get, I'm going to hold down the Alt key and get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why not? Let's go crazy. Because this is also going to give me a boost in building there. And since I'm building all those cotton things and then some ports for the ships, I want to build there. And so I shall. All right. There we are. And then because the Zhuz here are all mad at me, let's just go ahead and reduce autonomy. The people who will get mad about it are China and Central Asia. Let's do it right now. And hey, they may just accept right away and give me a 37% chance. Let's see if that happens. And let's go ahead and zip it up here. There we go. Alrighty. Oh, we got, oh, hey, they caved right away. That's nice. I wish they would have said that, but anyway. So that's taken care of. And now we've got the Great Game Dialstar. This is my first time into it here. But it says I need to secure Afghanistan, where here the Pashtun and Tajik countries, Kabulistan, Herat, Kandahar are owned by Russia or its subjects. So I don't have to take them out outright. I can make them a protectorate. I like that. And then have a subject over them for 10 years. And then we'll shift the Great Game in our favor that way. Secure the Persian border. We've got to end the Caucasian War journal entry. That takes 19 years. So I've got to get, there'll be some time on that. And then influence over Persia. If Persia is our subject, and then we also get into some of these other areas and make sure that they're owned by Russia or its subjects. So we've got that there as well. And make sure that Arabistan here, where Muhammad, the make sure they're connected to Russia and not to Persia, then Russia. Got to do that. Get 10 years and we get the balance of the great power shifted towards us. Fails if Persia gets recognized. Grr. All right, it's even Steven right now in the balance. And if we can complete it, then we win the great game. Hooray. So I want to do that. I want to win the great game. And I'm playing this game so I could win the great game. Anyway, let's go now to Ortajuz and make the same wonderful offer. 39% chance that they flip over to us. They did not. Okay, well, we'll just get the local army, mobilize, send them over here, and take care of that, Jack. Yes. Okay. Once this is cleaned up, then we're going to be able to do some work, just keeping an eye on other plays in the region. Ooh, Greece wants a trade deal. Yes, please. We'll give trade deals allow you to get up to an level 80 relationship, and I like that. Looking at my trade, I've gone from 4K to 2K on wood. We are making some good money with that. And Moldavia is improving relations. Good. Hey, looks like the Kishi army is moving in to help out. That's so nice. And that charity hospital is scooting forward there. We'll get some sugar from Mexico. There we are. And wow, that's pretty swift there on the old law progression there. Oh no, the Caucasian Ispamnate. Why do I call it the Ispamnate? Because I'm going to get a lot of spam from these events here. I would like to go with the harshest ones possible, just so that way we might be able to provoke something. I feel bad about that, but hey, that's how I got to roll. I am the czar. Hey, we got charity hospitals. Oh, wow, minus 308. Okay, we need to get some buildings built. Otherwise, we're going to, you can see we dropped on our taxes quite a lot there. So let's sort by tax and just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 8 ought to do it there. 8 ought to do it. And yes, this does mean it's going to take me now 6 years to build everything out. But we're fine. We're fine. Russia is a matter of patience. Seize resources from the locals to make up the deficit. Yes. Kabam. All right. And Ortajuz is dealing with their deal. I know this is we're supposed to be even Steven here, but we are. It looks like it's tilted away from me. I don't know. Okay. Anyhow. And successful incursion. Let none survive our scrutiny. Burn them down. And the Russian-Prussian Society is out because the group that was in it was marginalized. Oops, well, that's too bad for them. Let's go to Ulijuz and reduce their autonomy and hope they give us the 42% chance. They did not. Wow, they went right to the fight. Mobilize, go here to Ulijuz. And this should do the deed. All right, we notice that there's something in Kafiristan with Kunduz. Oh, I can't get involved in that, but it looks like it's going to go quickly one way or the other. But Persia, pause there. Would you like some help? I could make you... Okay, let's just get a trade agreement to start with. How's that? I'll help you out with a trade agreement. And they've invited me in. Okay. We'll make good friends with the Persians. Let's really do that. Let's guarantee their independence. And they're giving us a trade deal. Okay. And let's improve relations. Okay. All right. And I'll go ahead and request a power block embassy. Give them an obligation. They're my buds. I want them in. I want them in. Okay, they've hosted our embassy. We owe an obligation. And once we're done cleaning these guys out, then the troops will go here to Makran and we'll take out Kalat. There we are. This will go very nicely. Oh, we've got another 210. Hey, we can get a budget going. Or, hear me out here. Let's get one of those decrees, which probably is going to be better for me. Encourage construction in the Rostov, because we're building there. That makes sense. Let's do that. And we'll just keep some other stuff around for dry powder there. I am using points also to suppress the Polish national movement. Just don't want them to get sassy with me there. And we will take care of that situation. All right, we've now pacified these three areas. I should probably also work on improving relations with them, but I'm going to need some more diplomacy points to do that, and we don't need to be dueling. Ban it. I don't want Pushkin, or not Pushkin, what's his name? Pushkin, that's it. He's not Pushkin, he's Pushkin. Don't want him to get killed in a duel. That would be sad. That would be very sad. So we'll ban dueling. And, wow, Persia took over. All right, good job, Persia. Good people, Persia. I'm neutral with the USA. We can drop relations with them and start working on Kishizuz, Ulijuz, and Ortejuz. All the Jews. We're going to do the Jews. And it's 1837. I'm going to pause here and say that's a good start for Russia. I'm going to save this game so that way if I screw up, I can come back to it here. But I think I've got a good start. We're even though I'm not making 40K per week, it's only 3K per week because of the tax loss. I'll recover from that. Within 6 years, we'll be fine. And I've got a good start on the great game. So, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope I have a good run here as Russia. So until next time, do something good. Yeah.